Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to my review of Season 1 of House of the Dragon. Hello, my name's Aiden. If you're new here, welcome. We actually did a full reaction series to the first season, so you can catch that on the video. It's full-length reactions only, but um, yeah, now we're just giving some final thoughts, feelings, etc., etc. I really enjoyed it. I loved it. One of my friends said it felt like back to peak Game of Thrones, and I would agree. It just gives a sense of mystery because the show feels very unpredictable for me. I guess I should note, obviously, I've watched Game of Thrones. I didn't watch the last season, but I don't think I watched the last two seasons, but I know about it. But I've never read any of the books. I would consider myself, I only know lore through the show, basically the Game of Thrones show, so I'm pretty fresh on that. But obviously, I know the basics just to get out of the way. And I mean, I guess I might as well say because I have heard conversation on how people were upset with something because it changes some of the lore and stuff. And I said this with my Rings of Power review, though obviously this one was received a lot better than Rings of Power, the show in general, and I feel like people are less upset. But in general, I feel like my opinion of if it's lore accurate or not is if I don't know the lore, then why would I care? Which is basically it. Like I don't know the lore, so if they did change things, as long as the show is good, then then I don't give a fuck. I mean, if it's actively bad and then people are like, if they didn't change it, it would be good, then I'll be like, okay, I can see your point. But I thought the show was great, so I don't really care about any of the changes. I've also heard that this whole season was adapted from one chapter of the book, which is one insane, and two. I mean, I'm guessing there's a lot of changes, right? A lot more into the show if they can really just adapted from one chapter. It was probably like I don't know exactly what this book is. Um but like just in my mind it sounds like something where it's more like accounts of history and stuff. Um More like general history, like they don't really go into character motivations because it can't in one chapter, right? Yeah, it sounds like they just like listed historic events and stuff. So I don't know. For that, it's just really impressive to me. I don't know what you would call this world. I just call it Game of Thrones world. But it is a very detailed world with multiple books in it, so they probably had a lot to work off of. I assume the author helped plan this series. I don't know. I don't really look into details like that, but basically basically it doesn't matter to me. and I'll be honest, I do feel like the majority of people who watch it probably have not read the books. I know there's probably a lot of people who have read the books, but I think in general for any movie or show adapted that has a novel, probably most people watching it, if it's popular, haven't read the books. Whether the books are better or not. So, just in my perspective, it doesn't matter to me. Plus, the series was good. But yeah, just getting that out of the way because I said the a very similar thing to the Rings of Power review. You just see that critique a lot, and I feel like it's fair for sure. If you are very knowledgeable with the world, um, it mattering to you and other people who have that knowledge is feel like a fair critique. But I just think the general audience probably doesn't care about it as long as it's good. But no, I thought this series was really good. Usually visually stunning. The acting was great. I love the strat of using fairly unrecognizable actors. Obviously, there was some big stars like Damon's character, but um, it adds more like mystery and realism to the world. Strangely enough, it's a nice strat for sure. Um, Obviously, there was some hiccups. I mean, one of the more widely talked about one was what was it, episode 7 or 8, where the very weird lighting for the nighttime scene Don't know what was happening there. Also, sometimes the CG was a little wonky. Like the Dragons always look great, and they probably just used the majority of the CG budget on the Dragons. But that one, the one scene in episode 9, after that really epic crowning ceremony for Adon, when the dragon popped up and the fucking rots just flew to the screen, it reminded me of like a 2010s 3D movie because it looked so bad, the CG rots. But again, most important thing is the dragons. So they nailed that. Just sometimes the CG looked a little wonky, but in general, I thoroughly enjoyed the visuals, the characters, just the choosing alliances. If you watch my reactions, I'm Team Green, which I don't know if that's a popular opinion since while both teams are presented as flawed in ways, I feel like Rhaenyra's Team Black is more in a good light in general, which also makes me think they'll probably win at the end, sadly. Um, but I just think personally the characters on Team Green are just like way more interesting than Team Black. Again, personal opinions. I'm just down to talk about some of the characters. Like on Team Black, you have Rhaenyra, Daemon, obviously the main two. Both great characters who I've loved watching them develop throughout the story. I feel like I both like them a lot more at the end of the series. That being said, I'm still not a big Rhaenyra fan. I found her kind of annoying on the first half. And the whole plot after the time skip of her just getting away with having bastards and stuff was kind of annoying. I don't know. I really liked her at the last episode, especially when she started to resemble her father, the king, trying to make peace. I thought that was very cool. Sadly, unfortunate accident happened, and she's probably gonna turn into the Joker and fuck shit up. But you expected war to obviously happen. But she's just not my favorite character. But I do think she's a good character. It's just personal taste. Damon, I like more. I also found him kind of annoying at the beginning, but I think for most people, he definitely grows on you. Because that's my dad's favorite character. While I won't call him my favorite character, he's definitely my favorite character on Team Black. And the most interesting for sure. But like, who else do you have on Team Black? All their children are kind of whatever. Well, most of them are like really young, so we didn't really get to see them. We'll see next season. Maybe they'll be a bit more interesting. But Jace and Luke, can't really say much. Jace started to feel like he's getting a bit edgier, and I also think he'll probably turn into the Joker too next season after his brother's death, because he already seemed pretty ready to fight, and his brother was a cute kid, always nervous at everything, but just compared to like Alicent's kids, they weren't as interesting in my opinion. Then you have like the Sea Snake family, which I liked. I think they're like more mid characters. I'm kind of interested in seeing Corlys develop, since he's kind of given up his main motivation he's had throughout the series, and see where it goes with him. But the Sea Snakes kids are probably the most whatever kids in the whole series, right? They just didn't really have a lot of stream time and didn't do anything. And then I don't know anyone else on their team. They have like, I don't know their side characters like I recognize Team Alicent or Team Green. So just in my opinion, like Team Black's kind of lacking in characters that are interesting. While Team Green, you have Alicent, which again, like Rhaenyra, has developed a lot throughout the series, and I kind of sympathized with her a bit more. Um, you got Otto Hightower, who's like a light Tywin. He's not as controlling. He doesn't have that presence, but you get the feel of he's like the closest thing to Tywin. He's like budget Tywin, and I like that. I like Otto. He's fun. Um, then you got her kids, which are all each one of them. Besides, maybe you can argue the girl. I don't really care too much about her, but Aegon and Aemon are definitely more interesting than Rhaenyra's kids. I know Aegon's a fan favorite so far because he's just a badass and he's really charismatic and fun to watch. But I feel like that in episode 9, Aegon really actually became a character, because before he was just, trashy kid. Um, Now he's like he's not a good person, but at least I understand why he's not a good person. And I feel like I said in my reaction, I am interested into seeing what kind of king he becomes, because he's the sort of kid that like never got any love, so he kind of became a bad person. But when during his crowning ceremony, when he's seeing all the people actually praise him and stuff, I feel like it lit a fire in his heart. So I think I'm actually very optimistic that it'll be a pretty good king. Like people compare him to Joffrey and stuff, and again, while he does very heinous things, I think Joffrey was literally just pure evil. There are very few, if not any, moments where you can really connect and sympathize with him in the show. I don't know if it's different in the books, but with Aegon, I felt like I really understood his character in episode 9. Again, I'm not like excusing any of the bad things he did, but I didn't see like him reforming. So I found that interesting. I don't know about the other daughter, to be honest. She's just kind of wacky, but at least that's kind of more personality wise fun. Then you got like the side characters, like you got Sir Kristen, who's I fucking love Sir Kristen just because he's the funniest motherfucker ever, right? Whenever he comes on scene and does something stupid, I always laugh, dude. He went from Noble Knight to like the most bitchiest person, and I fucking love it, dude. Like literally every time he does something, it always makes me laugh. Because how melodramatic they made him. I don't I don't know if that's really a compliment, but I really love his screen presence of just being bitchy. It's really funny. I'm so excited to see what else he does and how he develops. I don't. People say he likes Allison like sexually. I don't even think it's that. I think like obviously yes he's bitchy and kind of insane, um, but I think he does actually just hold a deep respect for Allison for saving his life, and obviously a deep resentment for Rhaenyra for scarring his life and like ruining his pure knighthood self. Um, but yeah, Kristen's really funny. Um, um, then you have like you have foot fetish assassin guy, who's also really funny. I just love, might be the greatest motivation reveal I've ever seen. Um, man selling information and killing people discreetly for foot time with Alicent is actually hilarious. I love that. And yeah, Dan, he's an interesting character too. Obviously, he's into feet because he's crippled in the feet. I think that's pretty obvious, but yeah, he's fun. Like they have fun. I don't know, man. I just like even though they're set up more as the evil squad. Even though again, I think they're both flawed and they both made mistakes. I just like Team Green more, man. Um, yeah, Team Green technically, Allison's misunderstanding of the King's word is whatever, but Otto would have done this anyways. It just makes it easier. Technically they're stealing it from Rhaenyra, but um, Rhaenyra should have been executed with her children because of the bastard stuff. So like, sure, whatever. Who cares? I don't really care. Um, but yeah, it's really fun. Being choosing a side and just fully going in on it, and then very Game of Thrones days, like I was a full Stannis supporter, and obviously you know how that ended, man. I was in shambles. We were like the first team to go out. It was a shame. Well, not first, not even first, but yeah, we didn't make it to the lawn hall. But oh, rip Stannis the Manus. um But yeah, characters are that's probably the most fun aspect, the unpredictability, choosing a side, and some really great characters. I am excited to see larger scale battles. Obviously, um, with this addition of dragons, battles go very differently because they're more dragon centered. But I'm excited to see them scale up a bit because there really wasn't any large battles besides the crab feeder stuff. I think. Uh, I don't. Yeah, just the crab feeder from memory. So that's gonna be fun. Seeing what they do with that. I think just in general, I had a great time. It's a great year for fantasy. You got Rings of Power. a very good show, and then you have House of the Dragon, a great show. So, um, eating good tonight, and I'm really excited for season 2. Honestly, it was just a great watching experience. I was pretty neutral going into it since it's been so long since Game of Thrones, and again, I kind of tapped out early. I was a little defeated after Stannis, and it was kind of just going downhill. So, and the ending seems kind of going the way, like it seemed like it was going down a path that was kind of predictable. And after Stannis died, I'm like, fuck it, I'm Team Cersei. And you just knew Cersei wasn't gonna win. If she did win, I would. That would be a fucking ending, dude. But there's no way. It just wouldn't happen narratively. Um, but no, House of the Dragons was a great experience. One of the better shows I've watched in a while, and just a great watching experience. And I would wholeheartedly recommend it to anyone else. How they tackle time skips and stuff was at first a little jarring, but you really get into it. And it makes more sense now since they're only doing one chapter, and I bet the book or whatever just focus on events where they probably go into details of the events, but just the idea of that sounds like it would time skip a lot. I don't know. I'm just talking out of my ass about the book stuff, but positive guesses, positive guesses. But yeah, that's all I got. I don't know. My reviews are unscripted. I kind of just say what I feel. So if you want me to talk about a certain aspect of the show, just leave a comment, and I'm willing to expand on any of my thoughts. And again, full length reaction to the series. You can watch it on the channel. You can find a playlist on the channel too. And I do other reactions. Usually it's not really relevant to this stuff. Like I did Rings of Power, but mainly it's just weeb shit. I might change up a bit more, do some more live action stuff just because it's pretty fun. But yeah, thank you for watching this video, and hopefully I'll see you in the future. Peace.